new year, same problems, but I think they're about to get better. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, January the 5th. Happy New Year. Merry New Year. In the meantime, markets kind of picked up where they left off. They were actually down at the end of last year and rallied Thursday and Friday. In the meantime, we'll get into that in our market report, but a lot of things coming on. Of course, you all know tomorrow is January 6th. And of course, I guess we'll go the anniversary, whatever. But I think it's one of the anniversaries, one of the most bullshit things in history. Again, I do not agree with what went down on January 6th, but I do believe that there was some conspiracy, and there's a watchdog from the DOJ who admits that there was a conspiracy theory, that there was agents in the building that were actually winding up the people to continue to make it more worse than it really was. Again, I have no proof to that. I am not saying that it definitely happened 100%, but it was always my suspicion that there was more to the story than we were getting. And I think, unfortunately, in our current state of government with the cabal and the cartel and the deep state, I think we get a lot of bullshit information. Again, whether you believe in that or not, that's up to you, okay? I do believe there's more behind the government than the actual government. We already know that our last president, our outgoing president, forget about what you think about him, although I did think he was always a piece of shit, going back to 50 years ago when he first got elected. But forget about all that, okay? The man has Alzheimer's. So how is a person with Alzheimer's got the nuclear codes to launch a bomb? So you got to think about where we are and what's going on. So there has to be somebody else running the government behind the scenes, and it certainly wasn't Kamala, okay? In the meantime, President Speaker Johnson was reelected on a second vote. My understanding is that Trump had the call from the golf course to get some people to change their votes. Again, listen, I'm not a big fan of Speaker Johnson. I'm not a big fan of most politicians, as you know. So again, I don't know what the issue is, but again, hopefully we're going to see some change in our government. Hopefully President Trump will keep his promises. It's been a long time. He kept his promises in the last time he was in office, but it's really been a long time since we've really had somebody who followed through and did everything they said they were going to do. So hopefully that will be the case. Trump called the UK to open up the North Sea and get rid of the wind farms. Again, I don't know what wind farms are for. If you really want to change energy, if you really want green energy, it should be nuclear. Wind farms are bullshit. Okay, the solar power is okay. Okay, but the electric vehicles, no mas, no good. Okay, no bueno, as they say. I mean, again, listen. You already see a mass exodus of the banks now running away from net zero. You can't do it. Okay, we keep talking about this ridiculous climate change. Now, again, if you believe in it, hey, I don't have any problem with you. You want to believe in it? Great. I don't believe in it. I don't believe that we're seeing climate change. I don't believe any of the bullshit. And I think if you look back at history, okay, the system, the world runs in 40,000 year cycles. I don't know where we are in this 40,000 year cycle, but we've had many changes over the billions of years that the Earth has been around. So at the end of the day, like, if you believe in it, great. But I don't, and I think you're seeing that from a lot of the places are now starting to see things the way that I see them, that it is bullshit. Now again, like I said, if you believe in it, I got no issue with that. Okay, I don't tell you how to think, but I really don't believe. And of course, the world has been ending. I don't know, when was the first time the world was ending? 25 years ago? So somehow we're still here, somehow we're still prospering, and somehow there hasn't been that much of a change. But in the meantime, is it ridiculous, or am I just nuts that we have to put warning labels on alcohol that they cause cancer? Doesn't everybody know that they cause cancer? This has been something that has been around, and cirrhosis of the liver. I mean, if you're an alcoholic or you're a drinker, I mean, you have the risk. I mean, you're already adding something to your body. But again, let's waste billions of dollars going through a study to decide if we should put warning labels on alcohol, okay? When we already know that you have to be an adult to step in and buy it. But and again, what can I tell you? But of course, California rings in the new year with trying to block voter identification. Now, again, I ask you, okay, whether you agree with my views or you don't agree with my views, can anybody here honestly say that you should not have to show a fucking ID to go vote for an office in your city, state, or country? You really want to go through that particular thing of not having voter ID? Okay, I don't get it. I mean, they want me to get a new ID. I forget what it's called, but they have to get a new ID so I can fly. My driver's license, I think, it's real ID. My driver's license soon will no longer be enough. Okay, I have to get a real ID. Now, all they're doing is stealing more of your freedom. Okay, so do you think that you really want to have no voter ID when somebody goes in to vote? Okay, they already have a Pennsylvania woman charged with registering dead, non-existent voters. So again, is this the country that we really want to have, where we don't have any control of what's going on? I mean, you know me, I want to be an island. And for all of you who said that I'm wrong and that it would cost much more, I believe that you are wrong. Okay, I believe that we could survive perfectly, and we would make more money, so we could absorb more cost, and we'd have a hell of a lot less debt. But again, that's just my opinion. And again, your opinion is fine. I respect the comments that come in as long as they're not stupid and moronic and just say stupid shit. Okay? Again, you want to comment? I got no problem. But don't be a fucking moron. Okay? Crypto laws are changing. Okay? Again, you're going to see this administration is more into the crypto space. Dissent and company, and I think there's laws changing around the globe. Okay, I think that it's going to be, so again, listen, I don't have enough. Okay, but it was always something that I said that I believe in because of the freedom that it creates, the true free market. While I'm talking to you, Bitcoin is trading right now. Okay, and no matter when I talk to you, Bitcoin is trading, and there is no central bank intervention. There's no Fed stealing your money. There's no Fed doing a lot of shit, which we'll talk about the Fed in our commentary later. Okay, but I think that when you look at other things, and I think property tax, I believe that property tax should be illegal. Okay, why should I have to pay a tax on property that I own? Okay, that I bought. I own the ground that I'm sitting on. Why should I be taxed on that? And I think if you look into it, you'll see that it is borderline illegal that I should have to pay tax. Now, again, in Nevada, not such a big deal. But my house in Chicago was $35,000 a year in real estate tax. I think that's bullshit. Okay, I think that's wrong, and I think it's borderline illegal. But of course, there's a lot of things that our government does, okay, on either side of the aisle that is borderline illegal, borderline treasonous. So we have to deal with it. But again, the only way you stop it is if you step up. Okay. I think you're going to see gas start to make a pretty dramatic drop. I think oil is going to make a pretty dramatic drop once we have the inauguration, once Trump's in office. I think you're already seeing it heading that way. I mean, we have the talk of the polar vortex, and natural gas made a jump, but then it fell back again. So we'll see. As I said, big banks are exiting the big climate change, this net zero, okay? And again, I think that as we look at tomorrow, I think you're going to find that a lot of that was total crap, and a lot of it was manipulation and conspiracy inside the Democratic Party and Nancy Pelosi. I think you're going to find that it'll eventually come out. Whether it'll come out soon enough, we'll see. In the meantime, we'll see what happens. It's a new year. Let's all have a good, positive attitude going forward and see if we can get things back on track. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, January the 5th. Let us step out here for a break, and we'll be back with more Bubba's Bottom Line in our market report after the break. What's up, kids? Happy New Year. Welcome back. And as you know, I've got sponsors, and they're brokerage partners or sponsors. I have other brokers, so I want to give you full disclosure. But again, the only reason I give you these are great brokers that I think you should check out. Whether you want to use them or not, that's entirely up to you. But I give you what I use, okay, predominantly. I give you what I think is the best, okay, that will help you and give you the best service. But in the meantime, Capital Trading Group for our commodities and futures. And again, I do believe that if you have trade commodities and futures, you should have a commodities and futures broker. If you trade equities and options, you should have an equities and options broker, which I'm giving you two separate, which is Capital Trading Group, which is also our partner in some adventures. And of course, TRADIER Brokerage, okay, who is great, $10 a month flat. How can you beat it? Saves me over $100,000 a year. And ITM Trading, which is if you want physical metals, which I do, and I carry, and I buy from them, ITM Trading. You can see all their website information on the top and on the sides, and of course, don't forget about our high school program as well. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and our market report. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line, Todd Bubba Horwitz. It is Sunday, January the 5th. And at the end of the day, markets were down for the week, but if you broke it down, they ended 2024 lower. They took 2025 higher so far. We'll see. I personally believe the markets are in a lot of trouble this year. I think you're seeing some trouble in the semiconductors. I think you get issues. But again, listen, I'm not predicting anything. As you know, okay, you get my positions every single day. And you know, and if you don't know, I'm always net long, okay, because of my retirement and everything else. I am hedged, and we do teach how to hedge, but then for you, okay, so I don't make those opinions. I'll trade, day trade, and I'll trade either side anytime. But I do believe the markets are in a lot of trouble. I don't know if how soon it's going to happen, but I do think there's trouble. But in the meantime, as we go into last week, the indices were lower, okay, but they chopped back and forth. Again, for the week, the S&P was down 28 points. We are long the S&P, the Dow, and the Russell. We are flat the NASDAQ, okay? As we look along the rest, the dollar, which we don't trade, again, I remind you, that's not because I'm against the dollar. It's because it's too expensive to trade with those criminals in those New York exchanges. They want too much money, okay? But we would be short up at 109 here. The euro currency, we are long. The bonds and notes, we are still long. Now, again, one thing I think you should notice, and we'll talk about this in our commentary too, but you know, when the Fed cut rates on September 18th, the 10-year notes were 3.5%. Today, they're 4.6%. So it shows you how good those great rate cuts were for you. Bitcoin, we just closed Bitcoin on Friday for a nice little profit. We are now flat Bitcoin. I still think it's probably 85,000 to 105 for now. I would expect one more pullback, but in the meantime, gold, we are long. Silver, we are flat. Platinum, we don't trade, but we would be flat. Copper, we are flat. It looks like it's making a little bit of a move, though, so we'll see. It looks like we'll probably be getting short soon. Grain markets continue to struggle. Corn was the strongest, and they got clocked a little bit on Friday. Again, we're short corn, flat the other two. We'll see what happens over there. Cattle continues to explode higher. I trade that myself. I'm still short. I added to my short position, as a matter of fact. We'll see what happens. Hogs, I would look to be a buyer somewhere around 80 cents, or if you go out in the curve, you'll see either later. Crude oil is getting ready, I think, to become a sale. It is pushed up through our resistance at 72. It's now almost 74. I think that you're going to see some pushback on this now, but we are flat ourselves. Natural gas is lower. We're short. And the softs, I think this year you're going to look for a commodity run this year. I think, again, one of the things you understand is that when money comes out of equity markets, they're looking for alternative investments. And I think the alternatives will be the commodities. So I would expect a big commodity rally. I know others have said it, but that's what I would expect. In the meantime, let us step out for our final break, come back with our commentary right here on Bubba's Bottom Line, January 5th, 2025. Well, kids, I'm not going to go through the whole speech, but you know my partners are brokerage houses, and I have more than just the ones I use. I want you to be aware of who that I prefer, that's maybe help you out a little bit better. It's Capital Trading Group, that is TRADIER Brokerage, that is ITM Trading, and of course our high school program. And again, we're having some new products come out, some real exciting stuff, so stay tuned. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and my commentary. Welcome back. This is Bubba's Bottom Line, Todd Bubba Horwitz, and of course it is January 5th, and tomorrow, January 6th, so it should be interesting. But in the meantime, again, we've seen the Federal Reserve continue to butcher and fuck up the American economic system. They're so far off their mandate, they have no fucking clue what is going on because they don't care. Okay, they just keep adding to the money supply, which is one of the factors that has kept markets going higher. But of course, we're not talking about the inflation that is created. Okay, and I think this is a real problem when you look at it and you look at what they've done. They've created inflation. They've created taxation, the hidden tax of inflation. They've created taxation. I think that when you look at the bigger picture, okay, as I said earlier, you go back to the original rate cut, okay, of 50 basis points. The 10-year notes were at 3.5%. Today, the 10-year notes are at 4.6%. In the meantime, the federal funds rate, which is the money that the Federal Reserve lends to the banks, okay, the consumer, the 10-year notes are 4.6%. So they're up 25%, 100 basis, or over 100 basis points higher. So all that really says to you is that the Federal Reserve stuck it up your ass because the banks are making more money on the spread that they lend to you because interest rates have not come down. Interest rates have gone higher. Mortgage rates have gone higher. And here you are, the poor citizen, sitting here watching the Fed make it easy for the banks, but also creating massive inflation, okay? Because, of course, that is the hidden tax of the inflationary curve because there are so many federal taxes on the money that you use, the things that you buy, that the higher the price, the more the government gets to tax you. Okay. So again, an independent Federal Reserve, which do you really believe they're truly independent? Yes, they are on paper. They are independent. But I call bullshit. I think you need to end the Fed. I think we need to at least audit the Fed because they have done nothing but steal from Americans and create situations that only the wealthy can take true advantage of. And that's my take on the Federal Reserve. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line, and it is football. It is the last football Sunday of the regular season. There isn't a lot to choose from. There's a hell of a game tonight, though, which is the Vikings against the Detroit Lions. I do like the Lions, and I'm going to lay the 3, okay? But other than that, there ain't much else to do. In the meantime, as always, I thank you. Have a great week. We'll see you tomorrow with a Bubba's Daily Update. And until then, take care, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.